Hi and welcome to the Catching Up Podcast, your show about speedrunnings and the runners themselves. I am Sen Knight, your host, and today we have the chance to have Riversmccown and b0ardface with us. A speedrunner and a programmer all about Final Fantasy IV. Join me as we discover more about the creation of a randomizer and what they each brought to the table. Hi guys and welcome to the Catching Up Podcast. This is episode 2 with Riversmccown and b0ardface from Free Enterprise. So thank you guys, first of all, very much for coming to the show.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
First, a little bit of introduction, maybe. Would one of you want to explain to the people here a little bit more what Free Enterprise is? Most would probably know what it is, but maybe a few don't, so...
Sure. Free Enterprise is a randomizer for Final Fantasy IV for the Super Nintendo, originally released in North America as Final Fantasy II. And that's how it's kind of known in my heart still, because I grew up with this game and I love it. And this randomizer gives you the airship at the start of the game and kind of turns the game from its linear original version into an open world exploration. And you can perform the quests of the game in whatever order that they are available to you, and then the randomizer comes into play by mixing up where you find certain key items and where you encounter certain battles and characters, so that you have to go somewhere different each time to find your path to the end of the game.
Yeah. Like you said, it does randomize. It can randomize everything. You have the choice when you use your site to actually randomize everything, just a little bit of something, or you can even randomize nothing at all if you want. You will get the full open world exploration, but you could not randomize anything if you would prefer that.
Yeah, it's true. You can do that. Although most people play it with the randomizer settings, so
Yeah.
there's might be actually some broken things right now in the under-randomized version because it doesn't get tested a lot.
Yeah, I get that, but I first wanted to tell you I've used your site, and from all the randomizer I've tried, and I've tried a few, yours is the best I've seen. Like, just click what you want with a very well explained what will be randomized and what won't, and to what extent. Super good. Super great, man.
That was great. Thank you very much. I'm glad to hear that. I'm always scared when I present something that has this many different options to it, because you can very easily be overwhelming. And, you know, once you look at the average flag string, it's this long monstrosity of letters and letters and letters. And
yeah.
Like...
I came into this very wrong. The first time I saw someone play it, I didn't understand the flag string. I was just like, oh, this is awesome, I want to play it. So I went into the site and I saw like how you could choose all the flags and everything. And my first reaction to this was very wrong. I went into this and I was like, yeah, but what's the right way to play it? And then I went into the Discord. Yeah, no, that's. I'm sure I'm not the only one who reacted like that, you know?
No, believe me, everybody in our community has their own opinion on what the right flags are.
Yeah,
Believe
sure.
me.
As long as it's not kata, that's all right. But no, seriously. And I went into your Discord and I ended up asking what was the most popular one, or what does the runners played, or whatever. And everybody answered me their preferred way. And I was like, yeah, but was there not at some point a decision made that this would be the best way to play it, like the most interesting one? And not only it wasn't, but actually you do run weekly races where everybody plays a blind seed but the same one, and it's never the same flag.
Yeah, we tried to change that up. Like at the beginning, we were really trying to test out a certain number of flags, test out different combinations to see what was kind of appealing to people, what they really liked, what they didn't, care for very much, like the encounters being on. People seemed to really hate that. And we wound up, coming to some sort of consensus, really, and that was kind of the genesis of the league flags.
Yeah, that was super fun. I've tried a few of them, actually. And yeah, I was it was so strange to me that you could turn encounters off, like in a JRPG, and it ends up working really well. Actually, it's super fun. It goes fast. A run can be an hour and a half if you're lucky, and if you're good, of course. But that's super fun to play, and that's super fun to watch.
Yeah, we I put in the encounter toggle because I saw that oftentimes what would happen on a run is that people you just run away from most random encounters, and they're pretty much. I don't know the technical details of how hard it is to run from like non-surprise or non-back attack encounters, but I just felt like that it was always trivial, and it was just kind of, it's why bother with that road bump?
Yeah, of course.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, it's basically free to run away from them unless they have a double hit, I believe. And it's something that, when you're actually speedrunning this game, it's so irritating, and it's such a swing of things if you're not able to actually change things around to make it better. Now, Free Enterprise does let you actually manipulate these things to make it easier to run away from back attacks, but people still think those encounters are too annoying. So for the most part, we don't use those.
Yeah, and a lot of the boss battle are the interesting battle, and you can't run away from those. They'll still be in the run, and it's super fun to see how the boss battles got the attacks from the boss. The boss can be randomized, but if you end up fighting Odin as the Mist Dragon, it would have Odin's attack, but it would have the Mist Dragon stats. And it's such a good idea, and it's so fun to play again and again because you will end up seeing what combination of bosses and stats are broken, and you'll try to avoid them, and sometimes you can.
Yeah, the boss randomizer, that was one of the last things that came up with before the very first release of Free Enterprise, and I kind of whipped it together in a bit of a hurricane. So there's definitely still some jankiness into how the stats scale, but I'm actually kind of glad that it worked out kind of as well as it did, honestly.
Oh, seriously, it's a joy.
And the weird thing about the boss randomizer is that the part where the battle and the stats are scaling, that was the really easy part. It was actually a lot harder to get the sprites on the overworld map to change for the different cutscenes.
Oh, yeah.
That turns out to be a lot harder
because
of color palettes. And I don't know if you want a detailed explanation of that. It might be boring, but...
Oh, no, feel free. This is what we want to talk about.
Okay. So yeah... The way NPCs work in Final Fantasy IV, on any given map, there are 4 color palettes available for the NPCs to be drawn in, excluding the party members. The party members have their own 4 palettes. So there's only 4 you can have. And what's more, you can only have 2 predefined pairs. You can't just pick and choose 4. You have to choose this pair of 2 and then this pair of 2, or this pair of 2 and then this pair of 2. So the problem when you try to put one sprite onto another map is that the palettes might not line up, because on map 2, it has the palette for the boss you want. On map 1, it does not. So I actually had to write a whole lot of custom code that would, A, allow maps to use whatever 4 palettes they want, and B, kind of juggle the palettes based on what boss sprites we needed on that map, but also combining them with what sprites were already on that map so they don't lose their palettes. And this entire big combinational thing, just so I can make the guard be the right color on whatever.
Yeah, because if you didn't, at some point you would have been in Baron Castle with Barber Shia coming in, and the wall of the castle would have turned yellow, right?
Yeah, something weird, completely like that. And there's still a bug that I haven't sit down and investigated. You'll see that Luge, I think, in some appearance of Dr. Luge has the wrong palette still, and that's kind of part of the whole process.
That's awesome. That's really interesting. So I guess a lot of our viewers are actually pretty familiar with Free Enterprise and that's super interesting to me. How randomizer are getting really bigger, but as many of my viewers probably, they don't really know, like, they know what they're getting into, but they don't know how it was made. I don't know if you could try to explain a little bit of what it does imply. I mean, I know you can randomize things, but could it still be concise and interesting without getting too deep into coding?
I guess I could talk about the origin story of this, which is
Sure.
basically me being kind of infatuated with Zelda 3 randomizer Link to the Past, and kind of thinking what a great idea it would be if FF4 if we could actually move these key items around. And so over the course of probably about a month and a half, I probably poured out about, let's say, like 1,000 messages on our FF4 Discord talking about what a cool idea this was. Somebody actually bid on it for a little bit, which was another good designer, Pink Puff, but he never had time to really finish it. And then I went to AGDQ to run FF4, and I think either a week or 2 weeks within me getting back, suddenly b0ardface just rolls up and drops this rando on us. Is like, here you go. You play this game now.
I would have liked to see that. If we talk a little bit about you, Rivers, I have seen your runs of Final Fantasy IV at GDQ, and it was super, by the way. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks.
And okay, he comes in, he drops the rando on you, and he say you play that now. I guess you were actually pretty excited, right?
Of course, yeah. It's something I've been hoping to have done for a while. I'm not a coder at all. I have no experience with that in that world, and it's all foreign to me.
And that works great for me because I know nothing about gameplay and strong strategy and speedrunning. So it's a really nice combination of talent we've got going.
Yep, I definitely agree. But was there, like, you guys knew each other's before, right?
I would say vaguely.
Okay.
I came into the ROM Hacks channel on the FF4 speedrun Discord. Mostly, I had learned some basic hacking when I was helping out with the Lunarian Shuffle, which is another previous and also really solid Final Fantasy IV randomizer by Crow. And I came in there to just talk about it every now and then, and that's how I got roped in, plugged into the discussion that Rivers was having about what idea this would be, and then I just kind of took it and ran it on my own, and it's kind of like how Rivers described. I was pretty quiet about it until I just kind of showed up one day and said, "Here's a thing."
Yeah, it was like a Friday too. It was like, oh, by the way, tomorrow I'm going to release this, and you're never going to have a free life again. So.
But then there's a difference between you dropping the rando on him and him starting playing it and maybe playtest it for you and maybe come up with new ideas, which I'm sure he did. There's a difference between that and him becoming the community manager. Can I say that?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah. It didn't. I mean, when it first came out, there were some bugs. I believe Couch 23 had one that crashed the entire game with the giant. That was a big one. But other than that, it was pretty well coded from the beginning, and it's just been little notch after little notch. And because I'm spending so much time helping b0ard with kind of the speedrun aspects, the gameplay aspects, it just kind of became a natural thing where I'd be like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, then I might as well be leading the community anyway and bringing in that speedrun presence from before, along with also, this other side now, these newbies, this casual side that's actually super exciting to see that some of the best people at Free Enterprise Randomizer, as far as our races go, they had never touched the game before. Never. And then they just came in here and they studied what was going on, and they became really, really great.
Yeah, but it's not the first instance of this I've heard. I've talked with a few runners, and a lot of them, we would include Link to the Past, Randomizer, of course, Free Enterprise, and Final Fantasy V for Job Fiesta. A lot of the runners I know, their first experience with one of these 3 games were with the rando. It's a super interesting way to get into a game, actually. Of course, I've played these 3 games before, so I came in because I wanted to revisit them. Final Fantasy IV has been my very first RPGs I've done when I was a child, and it was dear to my heart. So when I've heard about this, I had to see it, I had to play it, and it rekindled my flame, the flame I had for this game.
I've definitely heard a lot of people have told us about how they love Final Fantasy IV And I'm one of those people. It's my personal favorite. Like I probably wouldn't call it the best Final Fantasy, but it's still my favorite. And I just have such good memories of it. And to be able to hear all these people tell me how they've we've been able to revitalize and bring some fresh air into the game is just really, really fulfilling for me. And I feel like I've really been able to give back a little to this game that was so formative for me.
Yeah, because I don't know, like the community is getting bigger for old games and everything, and there's challenge runs like Final Fantasy V for Job Fiesta is one way to do it. But before it was community driven. I don't know about you guys, but when I was younger, me and my friends that liked RPGs and SNES games, we came up with all kind of crazy ideas to replay some games. Yeah, Final Fantasy VI is probably my favorite one. I've talked about this before, but all the challenge run, like don't use that character, only use these 3 ones, only do that, don't use that weapon. I've tried everything, but Final Fantasy IV is really linear, so it's really hard sometimes to go back to it. Like you cannot choose your party member, you cannot choose when you gain one, when you lose one. The boss order will always be the same, so it could get complicated to rekindle the flame, like I said. But Free Enterprise is exactly what was needed for me, actually, to play it again.
Yeah, that. Definitely the whole open world freedom aspect of Free Enterprise is what is its magic sauce, for sure.
Yeah.
There was something I had in my mind a second ago, and I cannot remember what it was.
Sorry.
I was hoping as I said that last sentence it would come back, but it did not.
All right. We'll move on then. Rivers, you talked about the speedrunning, like you bring speedrunning into this. You became the community manager, but b0ardface, was it your idea from the get-go?
What specifically was my idea?
Sorry, bringing speedrunners into this, like, because I know a lot of people play it casually, but it did become a thing. I have a lot of people on my Twitch page, and it was Free Enterprise all over. Like, everybody was playing it.
Oh, that was definitely not my idea. I, again, I'm completely foreign to speedrun culture. As close as I've gotten is I've watched a couple of GDQs. I mean, I was definitely not plugged into it. That was definitely all Rivers and all the support of the other FF4 speedrunners who really embraced this thing and made it such a huge, amazing thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess I can jump in on this. Because when Crow was making the Lunarian Shuffle, it was actually kind of contentious because a lot of people wanted the kind of randomizer that was open world, and it gave you some access, made some cool speedrun tricks and whatever. And a lot of what he was putting out at the very beginning actually turned us off of it. Now, eventually, Lunarian Shuffle became a really great rando. Don't want to discredit that at all.
No,
but like that kind of fueled it, and that kind of fueled me as far as typing out all these ideas and being like, no, this is how we should do this, because if we do it this way, speedrunners will come. And I knew if the speedrunners would come and the casual players would also come, it had the potential to be a high upside sort of hack. And that's what's happened here. It's grown faster than I could have ever expected.
Yeah, because a lot of speedrunners are also an influencer, and as soon as they start playing it on their stream, a lot of people are seeing this.
Yeah, and it's been a thing where, Puexel will play it, and Elmagus will play it, and people will pick it up like that, and even like I saw the other day. Mega Man mainly speedrunner is the Dark Man, just playing this game that we created 6 months ago.
Yeah, came out in January.
It's crazy to think about how far it's come in just this short amount of time.
Yeah, but on the other side, it also worked on the other way. I have new person on my Twitch account that I follow now, that I follow only because they've been playing Free Enterprise. I've been looking for that up more and more on my Twitch. I really, like I said, it really rekindled my flame. You talked about Couch 2023 earlier. I didn't know him, and now I'm on his Twitch 2 times a week because he plays games I like. Of course, I like Final Fantasy VI. Also, he plays that also, but I knew about him because of Free Enterprise.
Wow, we're the gateway to the gateway now, board.
Yep. You're there. You're there.
Ooh, that's pretty great.
Yep. It is. So yeah, we talked a little bit about the Genesis and how it became a thing with speedrunners, but also casual players. The fact that it has grown also. Congratulations, guys. You did something really great there.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
But of course, we've talked about this earlier. This show is also about the people, and I really want to learn a little bit more about you guys. I think I will ask question, and you can answer in any order you want, and also you can comment on the other person. Feel free. There's no problem with that. How did you guys discover gaming? Like, we're talking like very young, when you were a child.
Ooh. I remember going to visit my cousins and my aunts and uncles down in the States. I'm Canadian, I have to clarify that.
I'm Canadian too. You probably could hear that, yeah?
I'm actually really bad at picking out accents and stuff, so...
oh, yeah, you're bad, because if you didn't get that I have a strong French accent, yeah, there's nothing saving you there.
I heard an accent, I just could not narrow it down from accent.
Yeah, I come from Quebec, so that's why I have a...
I see.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I remember going down to visit my cousins, and they had just gotten their brand spanking new Nintendo Entertainment System.
Ooh.
And Mario Brothers 1. And I remember thinking that was a lot of fun to watch. And then eventually, when we got back home a little bit, I don't remember exactly how, but we ended up with our own NES action set. And I would watch my brother play Super Mario Brothers 1, and then, other games, and just watch a lot. And then we got a subscription to Nintendo Power magazine.
Oh, yeah.
And the very first issue that came in the mail was the Final Fantasy 1 strategy guide. And I didn't really play that game through, but I read the heck out of that book. Which probably explains why I'm such a coder and maker now, but not the strategy or player guy.
Oh, wow. So I guess I should start by saying my parents divorced when I was incredibly young, like when I was like 2. Right. And so a lot of me playing games started off as them trying to distract me so they could do work. and so they would give me an NES, and like I would, because my parents actually lived very close to each other. They lived probably 10 minutes away from each other when I was growing up.
All right.
They would switch houses on me every day. So I would always have the NES and then later the SNES in my backpack and bring it back and forth because I knew no matter who I went to see that they would probably be busy and I'd have to entertain myself.
Yeah. Well, did it work? It seems it worked.
I can't complain, no.
Did they realize that you needed more to keep yourself occupied because you were completing every game 3 minutes flat?
Yep.
They did not realize that because they gave me platformers first.
Yeah. All right.
They instead watched me die in Ninja Gaiden like 5,000 times.
Yeah, but who doesn't? All right. And then you guys were first introduced to RPG House. I guess b0ardface it was with Nintendo Power and Final Fantasy 1. But was it the same for you? Like, did you play Final Fantasy 1 when you were young?
No, I didn't. I never had Final Fantasy 1.
Yeah, neither did I.
The first RPG that I actually played was Final Fantasy 2/4 US.
Yeah.
And I liked it so much that I kept renting it over and over again from Blockbuster Video because we could never find it anywhere.
Yeah.
And I would always get the one guy's cart where he had a save right before the Maga Sisters, but he was really bad and underleveled, and I could never actually beat it. So it literally took me like 3 months to beat the game the first time.
I have such crazy memories of Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 4, sorry, also. I remember playing the game, and you guys can laugh as much as you want. Seriously, this is on me. I've rented that game the first time I was probably around 6 years old. It just came out. I was born on an island, so we didn't have many games. And it just got out in my video store. And we tried it. It was actually a friend that brought it to me and said, I think it would be your kind of games. And we put the game on. We moved. We add a little bit of fun with it. But at some point, you get out of the castle, and there's the scrolling text that goes out into the with the background of the castle and everything. And I thought it was the credit. And I stopped playing. And I've brought it back to the store. And that was my first experience with Final Fantasy IV. I'm serious.
Agreed.
Yeah, that was crazy because I wasn't talking English when I was young. I was speaking only French. And I didn't know what it was, but I knew that scrolling text mean credits. So it was the end of the game. And I was like, it was okay, I guess.
So what you're telling us is that your first run-through time was amazing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Nobody can beat that time, of course. Yeah, no.
Prologue %, all right.
Prologue %, yes, sir.
But did you get Raven skip? That's the important thing.
No, I didn't skip anything. Actually, I skipped the game. Also, on one of my very first playthroughs, I've rented it again at some point because I really thought there was something missing there. Of course, I may have been very young, but I wasn't that stupid. And the other thing I never understood in the beginning is I was fighting Flans without casting spells. And I don't know if you know, guys, but they have, I don't know how many HPs, but it's probably over in 50, and you deal 1 damage to those.
Well, we should try to kick them with Yang.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the Flans before you get Yang, so yeah.
No, I know.
Well, now with Free Enterprise, you can kick them with Yang.
Yeah.
By the way, that one does that do 0 damage? It doesn't even pop up anything.
Oh yeah, you don't even see the damage numbers?
It just pretends it never happened.
It's just an artistic display of martial arts.
Yes, all right, I like it. Also, I was coming from games like Zelda or anything like this, and I didn't understand the concept of equipping a weapon, because in Zelda, when you get a new sword, you have a new sword. So in the beginning, you can actually run pretty well with the first sword Dark Knight Cecil has. It's not really a big deal to upgrade. It does help, but you can actually play a lot. But when you get Paladin Cecil, not equipping a new weapon in a while, you learn the hard way, yeah. My introduction to RPG was really harsh. I didn't know anything that looked like that, and I was having so much fun that I was learning through my errors, yeah.
See, you keep saying that there was no challenge, that it was too linear, but you really just introduced Legend Sword % right now. That just happened. So you got nothing to complain about.
Yeah, no, you're right. I really like challenge runs, but I prefer when I choose to do one, yeah. Okay. Then you guys grow up, you get both of you into RPGs. Rivers, maybe this one will be more for you, but how were you introduced to speedrunning?
I have been watching a lot of... I watched you, and then by looking up, on YouTube...
I think we have a problem with your sound, though, where you're cutting a little bit.
I'm cutting?
Yeah.
Am I okay now?
Seems okay. Try it out.
Okay. Well, so when I first started out, I watched some GDQ stuff. And from there, I would search on YouTube, and I found a Final Fantasy 4, 5, 6 relay that used to happen, I want to say, yearly. And, of course, Puexel is there, and, Nirm is there, kind of the old school of FF4, Elmagus is there. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that this could happen. This is always my favorite game. And so, I started researching, and I started, toiling in the shadows. But then the same summer that I lost a job, they wound up putting out a tournament for Paladin %. Which is just only up to Cecil becoming a paladin. And I was like, hey, I've got this free time now. Okay, let's do this. I'm in. And it was I was not the best speedrunner in the world when I started at all. Yeah. But I wound up getting a 4th place in that tournament, and
Wow.
that kind of established me. And maybe like 2 years later, I got my first world record. So
Wow.
it was kind of a late start as far as FF4's timeline goes, but I like to think that I've made an impact at least.
Yeah, of course you did, because you're here on the show and you have been with b0ardface for a while now. If you didn't make a mark somewhere, it would have been someone else.
Well, I hope so. I hope I'm doing good for the community as a whole.
Oh, of
I like
course
to
you
think
do.
so.
Yeah, yeah. 4th place on your first event.
Yep.
Wow, that's impressive. Seriously, good work. I would like to say that that my first run went well, but it didn't. Okay, that's interesting. And you, b0ardface, how were you introduced to speedrunning, even though you're not a runner yourself, but how did you learn about this kind of thing?
Definitely not a runner myself. I remember watching some task videos back in the day, and I definitely heard a little bit about speedrunning at that point, but at that point I didn't really get it. I was like, why would I watch that when I can watch the perfect run in a task? I didn't kind of get the culture and what, the competitive and the skills testing and all that sort of part of it until I saw a GDQ. It was Awesome Games Done Quick. I don't remember what year, but I feel like I can't remember if it was the one with it was Final Fantasy IV was at GDQ a couple years ago, right? AGDQ. There was, can't remember which one it was.
That'd be AGDQ 2016 with No Cash, No Cash.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
I can't remember if it was that one.
Was
or
it the one
before,
with the 64 doors?
Yeah, there was definitely with 64 door.
Yeah.
In the one I saw.
Okay.
So way back one, I guess. But yeah, that was my first exposure to speedrunning, is watching that, and I thought that was pretty cool. So we made it a point to catch all the GDQs from that point forward. But even then, it was kind of my only exposure to speedrunning was just through the GDQs. And then through Free Enterprise and what it's become, I've learned a lot more about it. I still have no idea how SRL works or anything.
Nobody does.
I couldn't tell you how it works, but I can tell you this is actually my first, the first thing I saw about speedrunning was that. It was actually during the time of Ocarina of Time, when it was a big thing and everybody was trying to get the world record, and it was who was it that was running it? The person changed name. I'm sorry, I just don't remember right now, but Narcissa she's called Narcissa now.
Yes.
Yeah. It was during that time. It was one of the first run I saw. It was the world when she got the world record. But at that time, I was only watching SRL because I had a roommate which was really deep into speedrunning and really liked that. And I was watching over his shoulder once in a while. To me, it was only watching people playing a Let's Play or something like this. But at some point, I just asked, like, yeah, you're watching like a lot of Let's Play. Is it that interesting? It was like, no, that's no Let's Play, man. That's speedrunning. And I was like, speed what? He was like, yeah, speedrunning, that's a thing. Look that side up. And I was on SRL. I've been on SRL every evening for quite a while, and then it's Twitch now. So yeah, I've been on Twitch for it's crazy. I cannot, every time I can see someone practice a game 50 times and I still enjoy that.
Yeah, it's awesome to kind of see somebody's progression too. Like somebody who came up and, you saw them when they were just starting, and now all of a sudden they're like a star. They're like top 10 times. And yeah, it's even if it is the same run over and over again, you kind of get invested in the run going well, and you know what to look for. And it becomes kind of its own, for me, almost like a Zen-like state, just like watching somebody play.
Yeah, absolutely. And you say it's always the same run, but I don't think it's really always the same run. I get the same feel as I would when I go watch a sports team play like hockey or baseball or football or whatever. This is always the same game, but the game never plays the same. And to me, I think the community behind the people playing is exactly the same. They want to see their team win. And it's the same thing with Twitch and the speedrunners. You want to see your runner beat the world record, or at least it's PB, and you will... There's some kind of shared glory there. I don't know how to say it, but if a runner I follow beats his PB, I will be happy for him, and this is crazy. I want them to succeed.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that's a legitimate psychological thing for sure, and it's I don't know why it's fun, but it's fun.
I've tried to explain Twitch in general to people that are very far from this space, like family and thing like this. And these people might be a little bit older, and I don't know if it has anything to do with age, but I tried to explain to them what Twitch is, and they don't understand. Like, why would you watch somebody play a game when you could be playing the game? And even then, I don't think they would understand me if I told them that I play games, but telling them that I watch people play game, oh man, that was a thing. Yeah. But like you said, I don't know why it's fun, but it is.
Well, I mean, I touched on it a bit earlier when I mentioned that when I grew up, I didn't play as many games, but I did do a lot of watching my brothers play games. So a lot of it is just kind of takes me back to that whole feeling.
Yeah.
You know, just being on the couch next to someone and enjoying an experience with them, through them.
Yeah, I agree. That's a lot of fun. So right now, Rivers, how are you? Can I ask you on the leaderboard for Final Fantasy IV? Are you still somewhere around? Are you still on the top?
I have the second place time in both categories that are popularly run right now.
All right. Who's first for fun?
Who's first is the Roth, who is like a machine. if you've never seen him play, like what he did to kind of play with the No 64 record was he got really close to 155, and then he decided to add on some manipulation that got him all the way to sub 155. So like it was crazy watching him play every time he gets on there, and I hope he gets on No 64 again, because he's amazing to see.
All right. Well, the call has been launched. If he's listening to this, I hope he will pick it up. Do you still practice that run a little bit?
In my downtime, but like right now, free enterprise has become such a big thing. It's been, and because I just changed houses, I just got married. I just went to RPG No Break. Like I'm reeling. I'm in the reactive time state, and the only thing I have time for is actually free enterprise right now. But hopefully someday soon this will die down a little bit, and I can get back to regular FF4.
Yeah. You've touched about marriage. So first of all, congratulations to you and your significant other.
Thanks.
And this is the summer of marriage for the free enterprise, right?
It sure is.
So b0ardface, you're gonna be married in 10 days, right?
10 days. Yes, I will.
Damn! Congratulations to both of you and both your significant others. This is a crazy summer, right?
It sure is.
Yeah. We'll be changing the name of the to Shackled Enterprise soon.
Yeah, I think it'd be fitting. I'm not sure if they would want to hear that, but yeah. All right.
So hopefully the community will forgive me for being kind of on my honeymoon while the league qualifiers are all going on.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. We wish you the best. Seriously, everything better for the future. But like I said, I have seen a lot of randomizers, and the quality of this one is really superior in some kind of way to me. It's not only because I really like the game. The amount of option there is super fun to play and replay. And I can't wait to see what you guys have for the future. But let's talk a little bit more about that. Do you have plans for the future? Are there feedbacks or ideas that you will work on sooner?
Oh dear, there are so many.
You have no idea how many people give us ideas on a daily basis.
Give me an idea then, just for fun.
Man, there are some days when I will log on to Discord and look at the feedback and ideas channel, and it's become like a 200 message just cluster with like 3 ideas that we've thought about already and 4 ideas that might be new but we probably won't do, and then maybe there's one good idea in there.
Yeah.
And then it's just like memes besides that.
And even then, like when there's an idea that may not be, I still keep it in the back of my mind, revisit it in a different form. Yeah. So one of the more recent flags, the giant percent, when you have the ultimate win condition of defeating the giant, that kind of came about a little bit from people talking about how they would really like to see a randomized boss in place of Zeramis. And unfortunately, there's a lot of technical difficulties that make that really hard.
Yeah.
So instead, we came up with something that was just a little bit different, that still allows you to have a randomized last boss experience, but in a way that makes a little bit more sense to how Free Enterprise works.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. And it puts the giant on the map again, because there's a lot of playthrough you won't even get in there. So that was interesting. Yes. I really like that.
Yeah, with the giant, because in order to avoid soft locking potential, we added the exit at the start of it, so you can't just go in and get yourself trapped in there.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that means that most people go in there for the grind fight, usually just nope on out of there right after.
Yeah, okay, get that.
Yeah, actually, when we first started it, we were kind of surprised that because we thought the giant would be the main grinding point for pretty much everybody. But the community just discovered these the siren and egg thing. And it's something that you would never think about in vanilla FF4 at all, because you never have sirens. And you never have, this idea flash in your head that, oh, I'm going to grind on eggs on an island.
Yeah, that's crazy, because I knew there was eggs on that part, and I knew you could call them with a siren. And when I first played for Enterprise, I never would have thought about this. And then I was watching a little bit of streams, and I saw someone farm there, and I was like, yeah, that's a good farming spot. And then, but who cares? And I've watched like 2 or 3 and 4 people tried it, and I was like, am I missing something? Is the XP that good? And I actually took a little bit more time to look at people do this, and it was like, oh yeah, it's crazy good actually. With Sirens, you can do that for a while, and it's fun.
Yeah, I think it's it's definitely the easiest grind that you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't. And there are so many different items you can use to kind of trivialize the fight if you're in a bad spot. So it's become kind of the path of least resistance for a lot of people who play the game. And it's hilarious that it took a randomizer to make that a thing. But I love it.
I do too. But we were talking a little bit more earlier about the project for the future. Is there, or is it secret, but is there things you're working on right now, like maybe new flags or just updates or anything that we can expect somewhere in the future, just to get an idea?
I've talked a little bit about so far in the Discord, just on and off for months now, about the next major release, and it's just with the wedding coming up and everything else. Yeah. It's been too hard to try to get a lot of that stuff down, because there's a lot of technical work that needs to happen behind the scenes to make some of the features I want to do possible. And so I've given some sense of what people might expect in there, but honestly, one of the most enjoyable things about working on Free Enterprise for me is being able to throw curveballs at people and surprise them out of nowhere. And I do this with Rivers a bit too. Sometimes I'll just drop in something that I haven't told him about, and he'll discover it along with everyone else, and then I hope he likes it or whatever.
It's not unlike him just dropping the random. It's like b0ard always has a surprise up his sleeve.
I can see that now.
But to answer your question, also from my perspective, I give a lot of feedback. I also keep like a public list of things that I have told b0ard that I think we should look into. Doesn't mean he's going to do them. It doesn't mean that he's going to do them in any order that I want them in. It's just a list that I have compiled that I think will be helpful for the community to see where I think we're going to take this. And the thing I'm most excited about that we've got on our future list is kind of this idea of a wacky random challenge where you might have a run where, say, everybody is magnetically paralyzed until you beat the sealed cave. Or you might have a run where...
Oh, no, now we're setting up expectations. Oh, no.
Or you might have a run where... what's one that board's actually sold me? Where every mage only has like 4 MP, and each spell only costs 1 MP.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's something along those lines is,
Wow.
kind of thing that I am most excited about. But I don't know when it's going to happen or if it's going to happen.
Yeah, and
those are a long ways off. So I haven't really talked.
Yeah, sure.
Because I don't know when. And a lot of them are just kind of weird ideas that are scrawled on a napkin or a figurative napkin. It's like, will this even work? I don't know.
or drunkenly on a plane.
Yeah.
In my case.
Would there be a pig % at some point?
A what %?
Pig %.
Pig %.
Like everybody is pigs, and you can't remove the bad stat. You want curveball? Here's a curveball.
Glorious. People keep asking for an Edward challenge as well, so be careful what you wish for.
Of course. Yeah, but I get why people are asking. Yeah, I get why people are asking it. He's really hard to work with, so people always like the underdog.
And yet he's still better than Dark Knight Cecil.
Oh yeah, but everything is better than Dark Knight Cecil. Yeah.
But it's something you wouldn't think of intuitively playing the game as a child. You wouldn't think that Edward would one day grow up to be better than anybody, let alone Cecil, the character. But yeah, it happens, as long as you don't take him to be a paladin.
Well, if you didn't know about it, play the randomizer and never turn Dark Knight Cecil into a paladin, and you'll know it pretty fast. No HP, no defense, never get a better weapon than the third one. It gets
Cannot
old
even
fast.
equip the adamant armor.
Yeah, that's true, actually, that's true. Which everybody can equip, including, like, I was putting out on Redia, and Dark Knight Cecil can equip it. That's crazy. Outside of free enterprise, what are you guys looking up for in the future? Like, maybe in speedrunning for you, Rivers, and maybe on the programming side for you, b0ard? Or Final Fantasy IV in general?
I'm sorry, what was the first half of that? I missed it.
No problem. What are you looking up to do in the future? Like, what do you want to do in the future?
Just in general, outside of free enterprise, you mean, or?
I was talking. Yeah. Outside of free enterprise, I was talking maybe mainly to Rivers. Maybe talking about speedrunning. But.
Okay.
But maybe b0ard something outside of free enterprise, like, I don't know, maybe in the gaming world, but maybe not.
I mean, my ideal job, if I could ever get there, would be to be an independent game developer.
Oh.
I don't know if that is really realistic in even the next few years. Just, life needs to align a bit. Yeah. But I'm really glad that free enterprise has really taken off. Because when I first put it out there, like, there have been many other Final Fantasy IV randomizers that have been very solid, but they didn't really pick up as much as free enterprise did. So I kind of sort of expected that I would get that first version out there, and maybe I would update every now and then, and it would just be another thing that's out there for people can pick up and try if they want. Yeah. And so it's definitely gotten a lot bigger than I ever would have expected it to. So I'm really excited about the stuff I want to add, but it is a lot of time too. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to the day when people keep asking me if free enterprise is open source, and it's currently not, but I would like to get it to a point where it can be one day. And so I don't know when that is. I certainly don't have any plans to leave the projects anytime soon or in the foreseeable future. But just thinking about what would be beyond that, I would like to try to, just do some independent game development and see if I could make anything out of that.
Okay, but let's just expand on that for a second then. If you were to game develop anything, like, don't sell out your ideas, but what kind of things would you like to develop? Would it be an RPG?
I would love to make an RPG, but I also feel like it is a whole lot of work. And not that any game isn't a whole lot of work, but RPGs have a lot of content to them. And I don't know if that's something I'd want to start with, just because if I would be just starting out my own independent game development, I don't want to start with something so massive, right out of the gate. I mean, I do like them a lot, and I do think that I'm weird in that I played a lot of JRPGs on the NES and Super NES when I was growing up, but I haven't really liked recent ones.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely be interested in the challenge of creating a game that makes me feel like I'm playing those classic games again. And it's kind of, it's difficult. I'm not talking about making something that emulates it exactly, like down to the, your save points are in awkward places and everything is, really chunky controls and all that stuff. No, I would want it to, play kind of breezily with modern game design tech and technology, but
quality of life changes.
But have that feeling I had when I was playing them as a kid. And, it's a very nebulous thing, but that's what I would want to do.
That's super interesting.
Or have you considered making Barkley shut up on Jam Gaiden 2?
If you had it, you should.
Maybe as a bet.
How many bottles of alcohol does it take for you to take on that?
Well, somebody's got to do it, right? The old developers clearly aren't doing it.
So I don't really drink.
Yeah.
So if I'm already on the vodka, then what's another step to Barkley? I mean.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't drink after that, you will.
Could I make an RPG about some other sport, like, I don't know, like lacrosse or water polo, or I would say golf, but they already did that.
What? Yeah, they actually did that. and it worked. Yeah, Golf Story actually worked. And you, Rivers, for the futures?
Well, as we've talked about, I want to get back in FF4 vanilla a little bit. That's probably goal one. I have it's kind of funny because, before I got into speedrunning, I had this list of games that I wanted to play, and I never got to that. And now I've got this list of games that I want to speedrun, and I never get to that.
I get that. I understand that.
So it's just transferred over, more or less. I will say, kind of on the development side, like as b0ard was talking about, one thing that I've talked about with Pink Puff, who has developed his own FF4 randos that were, kind of not quite this, but it was on the way there.
Yeah.
One thing we've talked about is doing a prequel to Final Fantasy IV and writing that out, and that's kind of an exciting idea that we might get together on someday soon.
Okay, a prelude, like a story. Old story, create the games from scratch, you mean?
Well, we would use the basic world of FF4, but also we would be telling the story of how it all came to place. Like, why is there a gigantic tower that nobody questions sticking out of a hole in the ground? Why can't you go in the hole?
Why do we have to make a new hole in a different mountain? Who knows?
Why is Kluya the answer to everything? Nobody knows. But if we wrote this game, we could find out.
Oh, that's interesting. I'd play that.
Rivers, I remember you mentioned once in the FF4 Discord a while ago about the making the Dark Elf as the hero game.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
That would be interesting too.
So I'll share with you, Sand Knight, my vision of this, and it's that Dark Elf is the only one who never gets his crystal yanked in the entire game. Yeah. He's got it the whole time. He's clearly the hero. He's just, kind of a sleeper agent. Also, he doesn't wear pants, so that boosts his hero viability a lot in my eyes.
Yeah. Name me 3 heroes that wear pants.
Exactly.
Exactly, right? Yeah, exactly.
There's something just a little bit tragic about a guy who has to shout all the time to be heard,
Well, look, he has the most story development in the current FF4 game. Literally, me change, okay? Me change.
At least he's trying to change.
He's got an arc.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm rooting for him now, I think. I hope he'll win.
He's a good guy.
He's the good guy. He's the good guy. He's the hero. He doesn't wear pants.
He doesn't have the boss bit, so you can tell he wasn't evil. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
All right, so more FF4 for you at some point. Not right now, and maybe if you get to it, if you get a little bit of time, maybe a new game.
Yeah, I mean, I did Barclay Shop and Jam Gaiden for RPG Limit Break, so that was a lot of fun. I would like to learn something a little bit more concrete than that, and then also just something totally wacky, like my boy Penguinator has been playing lately. Kanye Quest 3030, and that's kind of a game that's been on my radar for a little bit.
Okay, that's a wacky game, right?
Yeah, that's a wacky one.
That seems wacky. I don't know about the game. Is it what type of game is it?
It's an RPG. No, it's an RPG where you play as Kanye West, and
Yeah.
the speed run itself takes like less than 15 minutes. So
Oh, okay, yeah.
it would just be kind of a wacky fun thing to throw in at the end of the stream or something.
Yeah, sure, just for fun. Oh, that would be interesting. But again, I don't want you to create expectations just for fun, but if you were to, like, just right now, just out of the blue for fun, if you were to talk about another game you would speedrun, like you said, there was a list growing up of games you want to speedrun and you don't, and maybe less on the wackier side, what would be on the top of that list?
So this is kind of a complex answer. Okay, so before I went to GDQ, I actually created a kind of charity project on my stream where people would donate to get me to play a game. The winner of that was Zelda 2, which is a
Adventure
game
of Links. Yeah.
that I despise. So I'm going to do that, and it's not going to be fun, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah, but it's going to be fun to watch.
And then after that, I will pick a game that I might actually want to play, like FF6.
Yeah, nice. Oh, interesting. I can't wait to see that. Oh. I'll be there if you stream FF6, and I'll be there for Link's Adventure of Links too, because I'm sorry, but I like to see people suffer.
Oh, there will be much suffering. Believe that.
I've watched a lot of Kuso Grande from Brosensha streams, and my thirst for seeing people suffer has not been quenched, but it's getting there. It's fun. It's fun to watch. Have you ever been there, Rivers?
To Kuso Grande?
Yeah.
No, I have not. I mean, I've seen it, but I've never been like an active participant.
Okay. Yeah, I find this this thing really interesting. I really like to watch it. It's fun to see people try to speedrun. Like I was talking about this with Yagamot, but it's speedrunning. Sometimes people don't record their routing, or they don't record the first time they play it with somebody else's note. And when you see someone speedrun a game, sometimes you will see a finished product. And and that's all right. I mean, you don't have to sometimes it's just painful process and it's long and you want to be entertaining, and I get that. But we talked about the fact that it was it created some kind of a dichotomy between the people and the viewers that would make them think that they are pro gamers or god gamers.
Right, yeah.
And like you said earlier, Rivers, your first time you played through FF4, yeah, you got 4th place, and congratulations about that, but you actually described it as you not being real good at it. Like, you were proud, but you knew this run wasn't perfect and far from it.
Oh, yeah, not even close. I mean, What happened in that tournament was kind of a gradual improvement over the very start, where I got like I actually got like a 111 paladin time at some point in that tournament because I failed the little skip that you're supposed to do, and yeah, but as I got down toward the end, I, was pretty consistently like in the low ones, and this was before Trash Can and Carrot really became popularized and became kind of the major glitches that everybody looks to see. But yeah, I actually have a lot of fun improving that. The only problem I have now on my streams is that I get embarrassed if I don't have an agenda in mind already, and I'm failing. It's okay if I'm failing, but I know I'm going to fail, and I've defined the terms of that failure. But it's if I'm just like flailing around randomly that I feel really stupid.
and I get that. I mean, I felt the same. I've been routing in games before just for fun. I'm not a speedrunner either, but I've dabbled in it just for fun, and I actually like that. And even though I knew the game a lot before, of course, routing it for a speedrun is really different. And sometimes you feel stupid because you're supposed to know the answer to something, and you don't. And searching for your words and searching for what to do next, knowing that there's people watching, sometimes it's kind of heavy. I get that.
Yeah, well, something that I think about a lot actually is so Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton created the theory of gravity.
Yeah.
He also researched really heavily into alchemy.
Yeah.
But nobody talks about that because he created the theory of gravity. So I do a lot of wacky shit, and sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes I'm sitting here trying to grind something that is ungrindable for an hour and not really having all that much fun. Yeah. But I know that over time I'm eliminating possibilities, and it's gradually working out to the point where, say in No 64 and Final Fantasy IV, I actually changed the in-game category entirely by creating a route based around Rosa instead of Edge. And it's just something where kind of the more of that knowledge and the more of that failure you accumulate, the more you know what actually will work.
Yeah, because knowing not what to do is a step forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. We talked about the God Gamer thing and everything, and this is a myth I want to break. And it's not that I want to destroy the image the speedrunners are creating. I just want to destroy the myth, and to do it, and I've already done it in the first video, and I'll see if we can do it again. But I want runners to showcase and show me a little trick in the game, and if we can, Rivers, I would like to do that with you afterwards. But I want two things from this concept, and the important thing here is that I want to showcase how runners are creative and find things, really good tricks and things that can be exploited. And it takes a lot of time to find these things out, and it takes, like you said, grinding. You gotta grind a section to see if there's a better way to do it and to incorporate it into your muscle memory and your knowledge. But I also want to showcase how I will live it the first time, how I will deal with it the first time, so that people see me playing it. Even though I will have a teacher, I'll be bad at it, and I'll be real bad at it, and that's perfect. That's what I want to showcase. I want people to see what it looks like when someone do a trick for the first time. But I want also to showcase that even with a little bit of practice, anybody can do this. I mean, what's impressive to me about speedrunners is not that they are god gamers. It's the amount of time and grind they've put into a game. That's what's impressive to me.
That's fair, yeah. Fair summary.
There's a little thing I'm trying to do here on the podcast also, other than the teaching tricks part. I'm trying to discover new runners, if that's a thing. I don't know, b0ard, if you can help me with that. I'm sure you can, but Rivers, I'm sure you will. I want to give you the chance to shout out someone, a runners you really like. Maybe you think it's just a super interesting runner, or maybe you think that runner is criminally underrated. Anyway, it's not important how, but just someone that you really enjoy to watch, and you think that my viewers would enjoy to watch too. But other than that, I will try to reach to that person, and I will try to get them on the show. So the person you decide to shout out will receive an invite from me, no matter who they are. So maybe it's someone you really like to watch, but maybe it's someone you just want to learn more about them. I don't know if you have anybody in mind.
Wow, that's deep. b0ard, do you have anybody? I've got. I'm looking at my list right now. Who do you think, b0ard?
Well, I'm just thinking of there's a bunch of people. The thing is, again, because I mostly got into learning more about speedrunning from just a free enterprise explosion. Pretty much everybody is a new streamer to me. I can say that way back in the early days of free enterprise, I did get a lot of life from watching Nirm run it.
Yeah.
Because he has this great way of right before he goes up to key item slot, he'll go crystal, and then no, and then the way he says it just gives me life.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know of Nierm. He's on my list as well, and I will try to reach out to him. Yeah, I think it would be interesting.
So I'm going to shout out somebody who's pretty. As somebody who came up and kind of did my own thing, wasn't really affiliated or popular for a long time. Like, I tend to appreciate more the people who are grinding in the shadows.
Yeah,
that's sort of my thing. So I'm going to shout out Belted Kingfisher. It's Belted _Kingfisher.
Belted, B-L-T-E-D?
B-E-L-T-E-D _ Kingfisher.
All right.
And this guy has changed a lot of the Final Fantasy Tactics route over the last 6 months or so, and has started approaching the world records in that game. I believe has one actually, but yeah, that's somebody who has like 160 followers, who I think is amazing.
Yeah, of course, I'll try to reach out to him to see if he would be interested. But even if they're not, or if it doesn't work out, I think that if you viewers would like to go on their Twitch, of course, you could learn who they are, and if they get their seal of approval from Rivers or b0ardface, there's probably something really interesting happening out there. But of course, not only these two, but you could drop a follow on the b0ardface and Rivers Twitch account if you want. I'm sure they would be really happy to see more people out there, right?
Well, I mean, b0ard doesn't really stream, right? So you can just all follow me. Is that how that works?
Yep.
Yeah. You can, if you want to actually watch Twitch streams, you should follow Rivers. I used to stream really casually a long time ago. I kind of want to build that back up and have that running again, but I have no idea when I'm going to get to that.
Well, it seems to have a lot of plates up right now, so I guess it will be a question of time.
Oh, for sure. I'm hoping. See, I say I want to start doing it in August, but then I realized that August is what I have earmarked to get back into really hard work onto the next major release of Free Enterprise. So maybe September, but then you know how it goes. It's just thing.
So someday we want to get b0ard to actually join an SRO race, but I don't think it's going to happen.
To join what?
Join an SRO race.
I mean, if you want someone to take that bottom rank, I totally do that. I mean,
wait.
I can.
Wait. You go. You invite b0ard. I'll be there too, and we will be fighting for that last place.
Oh, please don't Please don't. Is it over or underestimate me? Underestimate my ability to be bad? Whatever. I can code the heck out of this randomizer, but I cannot play it for crap.
And the same with me. I can play the hell out of it, but I can't code my way out of paper bag. So yeah, it's a good fit.
Yeah, exactly. That's a match made in heaven, right?
That's how it's worked out so far, yeah.
Yep, and it worked very well. Like you said, there was others before, and they were probably of really good quality also, but at some point, you guys did take off.
Made the magic, b0ard. We made the magic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. What's happening here? All right, thank you very much, guys, for everything you've done today. It's really super appreciated that you're giving me a chance, even though you didn't know me from scratch before. That's super appreciated.
No, thank you very much for having me. I had a great time.
Yeah, we'll be excited to put this out to the whole Discord, and maybe we can get you some views.
That's super appreciated, man. And at some point, maybe my show will get big, and maybe I will get you a new player.
Or you could just give us money. That's fine too. Whatever you want, really.
All right. How much? Okay.
Any unexpired condiments in your fridge would be great too.
This is a stick up. This is a stick up. Let's get on board.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good evening, and thank you very much, viewers. Same thing. Have a very good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.